Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. First day trading the Phase II account, and we were up quite a bit, but everything kind of pulled back midday here, and end of the London session. So I just exited my positions with about oh, ended up with like a 0.5% today. So nothing too crazy, but uh, I'm positive. So basically, for the Phase II. I need to get 5% within looks like 60 days. So I mean, even just going for 1% a day is not unrealistic. So that would be 5 days, right? So something to think about. Where I see a lot of people where they're doing it in one day, or and it's just you don't necessarily have to expose yourself to so much risk all the time. So anyway, wanted to go over today. I've been getting some requests about how I'm using the indicators. Specifically, I've got some emails from folks that are they do have the simplicity system of indicators, which I do have in this chart. It's hard to see maybe, but there's a white arrow right here. Um, Actually, you know what? Let me pull up my what's it called? Oh, here it is. I have drawing tools now. Let's see. Let's see. How do I erase all that? I mean, I'm new to this, so okay, there we go. All right. Let me pull up my chart again. All right. So let's see. Let's see if this works. So basically, I have you see here this the red smiley faces are part of the simplicity system. They're the algorithmic trend. Then there's also another moving average overlaid within there. You can see it's orange and blue and yellow. As you can tell, it's all that algorithmic trend thing is really just a moving average or a type of moving average. So you don't necessarily have to have it, but there are nuances to it that may or may not be good. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. The other big thing I have for as far as indicators are the session boxes. So you can see here, that box there, that box there. That's the I sessions indicator, and that's really important as well. So again, here's that simplicity arrow. It's just white for bullish. These double arrows, that's another Oris, call it Oris, a sniper Oris 2. I don't know, I'll show you here in a minute. I use those as for the trend, kind of, they're kind of like a pre-setting, like setting the stage for what's going to happen. I don't trade them specifically. The other thing was this indicator down here, which is the trend signal. Again, I'll show you all of those here in a second. And that's mostly about it. Also, I've left on the period separators here, so you know this is a trading day from there to there. You know what time that is in your time zone. It's different for everybody. So, let's see, how do I get rid of everything? There we go. All right, let me do this. Let me pull up all of the indicators in my list so you can see. Pipsometer, that's just the stuff in the corner here. Candle time, of course, is how many minutes are left on the candle, minutes and seconds. Here's the this here sniper Oris 2 are the double arrows. Let me see. There's my tool. There it is. That's these. Right. The big arrow is. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there's one right here. It's a repainter. It's basically just a semaphore. Another good one here. Priceline grid. It's the same thing as a sweet spots indicator, so you can search for that and find it. That's just these grid lines. It might be kind of hard to see because I have them kind of dimmed down, but they're basically just quarter points. It's a 50 pip range from there to there. That's what that is. I was just like seeing those. It kind of helps you pick out the levels pretty good. Here's XPMA full is the colored moving average you see. And I have this supply demand zones here. That's what these are, these boxes. They they repaint, but they do kind of help you pick out things. You know, like if you don't have a good eye for picking out things like this, which is a possible supply zone, then it's good to have it, right? And I just kind of use them as reference. I don't really trade off them necessarily, unless it's like this scenario we're going to talk about here in a second. So, okay, basic strategy using this stuff is a couple of things. The best time I've found and what I'm looking for is right after an hour of the Frankfurt session open. So this blue box right here represents the Frankfurt session, the first hour of it. Okay. And immediately after that, I'm looking for a close below or a close above it, right? And typically, not always, and I wouldn't base the whole strategy off of that, but quite often, the wherever the candle closes below or above, that's usually or typically the direction for the rest of the session, of the London session. Again, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You don't trade it specifically like that, but that in general, that's kind of what happens. You see here, see how you got to close above, and the rest of the session shot up here, rest of the way down. There are days like today where it just kind of consolidates. You don't have that. Or here, where it obviously closed, but it had a pullback basically to the top of the range and then sold off during Asian session. Again, I just kind of use it as a guide, if you will. I don't trade off of it necessarily, but I do really pay attention to this level right here. If it's going to go below and it closes below, then I'm looking for it. Now, on this day, which was yesterday, and I did not take this trade. I don't know why. The reason why is because it wasn't closed below, so that kind of scared me off. But there's ways that we can deal with that. Basically, before the Frankfurt, it came out of the Frankfurt session open, I had my bearish trend signals telling me that potentially a bearish trend is setting up. Check one. All right, I got that. My XPMA line was red, meaning it was starting to turn bearish from blue to yellow. I like seeing changes, like when it changes like that, it goes from blue, yellow, then red, right near the open of where I'm interested in trading. That's ideal. The algorithmic trend from simplicity was red, and ultimately this candle here was the major push, which was really hard to take, but nonetheless, it did trend down the rest of the way after a minor pullback. So, in essence, here, let me get my cursor back here. It immediately sold off 25 pips. Did a little pullback, 17. That would have been an entry point right there, and then it went the rest of the way, 30 pips. So again, everything was in alignment at that point of this candle close. I had everything telling me he was going to go bearish using all of the indicators. The other thing I didn't mention was I do look at this as well. So this dot here, it's a little different, but it's the same indicators just added twice with a little different setting. And then obviously the main one I'm looking for is that solid red one there. Again, that kind of all sort of aligned, stars sort of aligned there on that candle. So with that said, maybe a good idea is to set a sell stop entry kind of like below the low of that entry candle there. That would have picked out, would have captured that initial push down. So that's another alternative or something I'm working on to try to get involved in. The challenge here is that This time right here, 11, I think it's 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. for me, Eastern time. So it's a little bit of a challenge to make that consistently, but hey, that's tough luck. You got to deal with it. So anyway, this would have been a valid entry. Everything was ideally would have been right after the close of this signal here. So a small pullback and then would have gone. But all of the other indicators are telling me to sell. Also coming out of a supply zone, right? So it was in there and it came out pushing down probably to another one. There's probably another supply zone, down here. Obviously it is. So right now we could get a push up to back up to it or the next one above it. So that's the basic premise, and kind of how I'm using all these. Now, as far as settings go, hey man, it's kind of up to you to figure out. I went through the process and I just spent hours and hours and hours looking at this stuff and seeing what the different settings were for each of these. So it's kind of on you to figure out. I may one day come up with a template that's available, but nothing concrete yet. It wouldn't be free because I've spent so much time testing all this stuff and going through it. The indicators are free. Go out and get them, but building the template and getting all the properties and the settings correct, then that's a little different. You notice this in this. They're the same indicator as these two down here. One is quote unquote non-repainting, one is repainting. The trend signal is the one with the small dots, and this LEDC dash blah 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 SSRC force final no repaint is no repainting, and it does appear to be non-repainting, at least after the candle close. And that's these larger dots with the X. So you can typically rely upon it. It doesn't mean it's going to go in the direction that you intend. Like, for example, here, like this, it obviously did not repaint, but would you have wanted to take that signal? No, right? Because everything's bearish. We're leaving the London session. It's like everything screams not to take a buy on that close of that candle right there, even though you're getting it in this indicator, right? So good example of not just using one thing to trade with. So there you go. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or email me. I apologize. Some people were emailing me and I wasn't getting notifications. I was a bit lazy, I think, and just relying upon my Chrome browser to notify. The pop-ups come up. And I didn't have it on my Gmail on my phone, so I wasn't getting notifications that emails were coming in, and I hadn't checked it in a while. So that's my bad. I apologize for that, but there you go. It's kind of what happened there. So yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to answer them best I can, or if you give me something more complex, and I'll try to come up with another video to explain things. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you're doing well. And thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.